So once inside the van, you've got a flush control panel here, which is your 12 volt control panel. So it's all powered off the main leisure battery. However, if you are hooked up here, you'll get this little icon, and you are getting mains 230 volt within the vehicle, so you can use all 3-pin plugs and mains household items. Your master switch is here, so you turn it on and off here. You've got your master switch for your interior lights. This needs to be on, then the switches are all around the vehicle to turn on individual lights. You've got the awning light on the outside of the van. You've got the auxiliary switch, which needs to be turned on for some appliances within the vehicle. You've got the water pump, so make sure the water pump's turned on when you're using the taps, toilet and shower, and make sure that it's not turned on if you don't have any water within the tank. And then this side you can view battery 1, which is your van battery level, engine battery. Battery 2, which is your leisure battery. However, unhook the vehicle to get a true reflection of the leisure battery. You've got the amps currently being drawn. You've got your S1 fresh water 75% full, R1 0, which is your waste. So you've got blue fresh, red waste, and then you've got your interior temperature and your outside temperature, so you can see what the interior temperature is of the vehicle and what the outside temperature is by pressing this one on the far right hand corner. To operate your Truma digital control panel, this here is your on off button, which you would do a long press on and it'll turn itself completely off, and then press and it'll turn itself on. To enter the menu, as this is on but you want to get into the menu, you need to press enter. And here you do have a motorhome with a thermometer flashing. This is your interior temperature of the vehicle. So click on here. Off if you are away in the summer and you didn't want any heating, or you can turn it all the way up to 30 degrees, which sets the thermostat. To save the temperature set, press enter and then move along. And this is your water setting. So if you've got water in the boiler, water in the freshwater tanks, you can put your hot water system on. So you've got eco, which is 40 degrees of heating the 10 litres of water. Hot, which is 60 degrees of heating the 10 litres of water. Or boost, which is a half-an-hour setting which turns off the heating and prioritises the water. So for this we'll just say hot, as you want the heating and hot water to run together, whereas on boost it turns the heating off and prioritises the water. Next you've got your energy source. So you'd use gas if you were wild camping and didn't have any electric on board the vehicle. Mixture 1, which is 750 watts of electric and gas. Mixture 2, which is 1850 watts of electric and gas. You'd use that if you're in the winter, and this will boost the temperature of the vehicle quicker than using just electric for the first 20 minutes or so. EL1, which is 750 watts of electric, and EL2, which is 1850 watts of electric. Use EL2 on most sites throughout the UK. On smaller CL sites and airs you may have to turn it down to EL1. And then at the end you've got your fan, so you can have that on eco or high, and that is just a 12 volt fan setting. Eco uses a lot less of the leisure battery. High uses the full fan speed, so you can hear it a little bit more, so you might want to turn it down to eco when sleeping. Time here, you can so you can put a timer on for the heating to come on and off. Time on the main display panel. And then in the settings, if you scroll all the way down to reset, if you ever get a warn triangle that won't disappear, press reset. It'll say preset, press enter again, and then it'll completely turn the panel off, and you'll have to go in and set the temperature, the water, the energy source and the fan speed again. Anything above the line, so you've got your hot water, your heating on there with a gas flame, hot water's on, you're on 2 kilowatts of electric, as you've got 2 electric symbols lit up, and your fan is on eco, so it tells you without even going in that your heating system is on. So to operate your Thetford fridge, you've got an on-off switch here which turns the fridge on and off. So when you aren't using the fridge, if you turn it off, leave the door open. On the actual clip itself, where the door clips into, there's a little blue clip. If you slide that into the middle, it'll mean that you can rest the door upon it and it'll not close. So that means that air can circulate in and out the fridge when not in use. And it's best that you take everything out and give it a clean out once in a while. Never leave the door shut when you're storing the van, otherwise you will get smells within the vehicle. When you're using it, however, though, turn it on. Using the square button, with it being a three-way fridge, you can select which source you want to run on. So press and hold until it starts to flash, and then you can use the arrows. You'll see A's flashing there at the moment on the far corner. That stands for automatic energy selection. So the brain of the fridge picks out the best source available to the motorhome at any one time, and it will always prioritise mains 230 volt. Once mains is disconnected and your gas is open, it will automatically swap over to gas for the fridge to run on gas from the gas bottle. And then should you ever start the engine, it will switch over to battery, which isn't off the leisure battery, it's off when the vehicle is running, and it's designed to be pre-chilled beforehand, and then this function only keeps the fridge at the temperature it was at before departing, which is great if you've put your food in the night before with the fridge on a couple of days before. That's down to temperature. You've been off to the shops, loaded your fridge, then you're ready to drive off the next morning. Your fridge will be down to temperature, and so will your food within it. So when you travel, it will switch over the battery setting until you get to your site and either hook the van back up and it'll automatically switch back, or it will switch on to gas. However, on the automatic feature, it does wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas once the engine has been turned off. This is in case you've pulled in for diesel and you haven't isolated your gas cylinder. So it waits 20 minutes. In this case, all you would need to do is manually select the source. So press and hold again, move it off the A and put it on the source you want. And you can do this on gas, electric and travelling the 12 volt feed from the engine on the battery. Then the next one starts flashing, which is your temperature. So to adjust your temperature, select your source, then your temperature starts flashing. 5 when pre-chilling, turn it down when you put your shopping in, as 5 can sometimes be too strong and cause ice within the fridge. But for this, we'll just leave it on automatic as it does its own thing, and it will automatically select mains as we're hooked up. So now in the kitchen, you've got 3 gas hobs, and there's a built-in ignition on this as well with a little rocker switch, so you can turn your hobs on. Allow them to cool before you put the glass lid down, otherwise you will shatter the glass. And then you do have your duplex Thetford oven. So you've got one grill and underneath an oven. Gas isolation valves beneath the oven for your various gas appliances, so fridge, heating and hot water system, hob and your oven. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe. As you're isolating the main source. This is mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced, but if you ever have any problems with gas, make sure that if you're just struggling to get gas through on certain appliances, just check that these haven't been knocked off when you've been loading the van. And if you are unsure that you think you might have a gas leak or something's not working, if you think it's just one appliances, you can turn it this way. This is off, these are on. But like I say, these are mainly for when the vehicle is annually serviced every year. You've got your kitchen lights on the splashback there. Extractor fan for when you're cooking. Mains 230 volt sockets, so you've got to be hooked up to use that. Some storage above. Storage drawers. This is showing that your water system's working. So you've got a pressurised flow of cold water and hot water there as that's starting to get warm. So underneath the long bunk at the back on the driver's side of the vehicle, you've got access storage here because you can see the outside, so the storage there. There's also your onboard freshwater tank. So this is a 140 litre freshwater tank which you can access through the top. If you ever want to get in and clean it or put any cleaning solutions in, you can get in from the top. However, you fill it from outside, and when you need to drain it down, this is your drain down cog. So it tells you there. So all the way to the back, to the right hand side, is closed and it will fill with 120 litre capacity. However, 140 should I say. You don't want to be driving around with 140 litres because that's 140 kilograms gone out of your payload because you've got water on board. If you go into a site, fill up there. If you're going wild camping, you may have to take a bit of water with you. However, the best thing to do is travel with 20 litres. So if you open this 3/4 of the way to the front, it will drop 120 litres and leave 20 litres in the van. So it means that's great if you're going on a longer journey and you want to stop off, have a cup of tea, use your own toilet in the back of the van. Or in the winter, when it's very important that you drain the vehicle down, when we're experiencing frost to stop it from freezing, you open it all the way at the front and it'll drain off everything and leave nothing in the tank. So this is how you would drain off your fresh water tank. So across the back of this model is your washroom. So to operate your toilet, ensuring that the pump's on and pressing the blue button here, you'll get water from your freshwater tank. So always give a small flush first on the toilet before use, and then that helps lubricate the seal between the top of the cassette and the bottom of the toilet before sliding this blade to the right, using the toilet, flushing after use. If you've got any pink liquid, obviously there's no header tank on this motorhome because all motorhomes are different. So there's no header tank, it comes from the freshwater tank. But what you could do is put so much pink in an empty spray bottle, dilute it with water, spray the bowl and flush, and then close the blade, and it'll do exactly the same job. All the pink does is clean the bowl, and it's a bowl cleaner and neutralising odour spray. Once the cassette is full, it'll indicate here with 3 or 4 green lights underneath the diagram of the cassette, and always get into a habit of, once you've finished using the toilet, closing the blade, because if the blade's left open, the cassette won't come out the outside of the van. Make sure that you strap your shower screens before you travel so that they don't cause any damage and flap around when you are driving. You've got your shower light here. Hanging rail for wet towels, also great for extra space. If you're not going to use the shower and you're going to use the site's facilities, put your hangers on there and take extra clothing if you're going on a longer trip. And also has the benefit of, if you've been caught in the rain, hang your coats in here on 2 hangers and it'll drip dry into the shower tray. So it's not going to cause any leaks off the coats with all the water. It's going to go straight into the shower tray and drain out. Just do be careful with what you clean the shower tray and surround out with, because it is only plastic. Dettol spray or Fairy Up liquid with a microfiber, no scourers, because you will just damage the finish of the plastic. When you're winterizing, make sure the shower head comes off the hose. You disconnect these two and the hose lies down in the tray with all the mixer taps throughout the van left open to avoid any water from sitting on any pipes that are visible, such as this pipe, and any pipes that are behind the furniture and chassis of the vehicle, so that it all drains out and no water is left in any pipe work that could potentially freeze. Located underneath your half dinette, your rear travelling seats, is your Truma anti-frost drain down valve. So this detects temperature, and when it detects 3 degrees or less, this button at the bottom will pop out, and that will allow the 10 litres that's stored in the boiler to drain directly out underneath the vehicle to avoid that water from freezing. However, never become fully reliant on it, because these can over time fail. So the best thing to do is manually drain it down yourself, and I'm going to show you how. So you would make sure the pump was off, and then what you would do is you would grab a hold of the blue diamond on the top, and the button will pop out and the water will drain directly out underneath the van, and this has left the system open. And then when you come to reuse it, you want to turn the diamond back and push the button in. If the button won't stay in because you're using it when it's cold, put the heating on first, because you don't need any water in the boiler to heat the van. Just make sure the hot water system's turned off, and then heat the vehicle for the first 10-15 minutes, and then push the button in, and then you can then bleed the system through. So you will need to open your taps. You'll get a pressurised flow on the cold. As soon as you start turning it to hot, it will cough and splutter. And all that's doing is it's filling the boiler from the fresh water tank. So it will take up to 5 minutes. Once you get a pressurised flow from one tap, do them all, and then the system is primed for the season. But do drain it down in the winter and check that this has dropped the water. Above the fridge, you've got your satellite system. So your satellite system consists of this box, which is the control box, go into the distribution box, and then you've got your control panel. So you want to turn it on, it's going to find its last known position, and you press go, and it's saying to Astra 2. So there you go, it's finding. If you look out of here, you'll see that the dish is spinning round, and it'll make some final adjustments. And it's searching for Astra 2, as that is the satellite you want to have in this country, France. As soon as you start going down to Spain and things, you will have to change the satellite, and you'll need to do that both on the control box and on the telly in the settings, so that they both marry up, because with this vehicle you've got Navtex telly, which is the best telly fitted to the leisure market, and it has an inbuilt satellite receiver. But to change that, you would just press here. But at the moment it's finding Astra 2, which is what we want anyway, and it's an auto search. Just making some final adjustments there. And there you go, the satellite is locked into position. And there is your TV working with the satellite locked on. So on source, you can see there we're on satellite, it's all working. You've got a good signal on channels. You will have duplicate channels, so with a satellite it does pull in loads of channels, and some of them are duplicates, so you will have to just scroll through until you find one that works. However, if you ever need to do a search, you just go to menu, or TV setup, which is this one here, scroll down. That's where you would change the satellite should you ever need to if you go to a different country. So it's on Astra 2, 28.2 is what you want, and then you can search it. And find as many channels as you can in your area. So now that's doing an auto search, and it'll find as many digital TV channels and radio stations as it can. If it does ask for a password, it is just all the 4 zeros. which will get you into the auto search function, and you'll be able to find the channels in the location that you've parked the vehicle.